When I first pulled together the title for this presentation, Do I Take a Survey of Play Angry Birds, it was a little bit tongue-in-cheek. But it really kind of delineates the challenges that we as researchers are facing out there in the mobile environment. Because we're competing in a very challenging world, we are looking at a fragmented group of individuals. We are trying to gain their attention out there. And we're trying to be able to, persevere with these folks. So what I'm going to do in a few minutes this afternoon is walk through some of the key challenges, what some of the key stumbling blocks are, solutions to that, and present you with a solution that will not handle every single one of your online survey research needs with folks in the mobile world, but can satisfy a significant group. All right, thanks to our friends at Nielsen, we know that overall household penetration in a mere year is up roughly a third to almost 50%. Number of apps on the average device is up about 28%. The average device now has about 40 apps sitting on it. However, the amount of time spent on the top 50 apps out there has gone down. So what we're finding is there are more folks on smartphones. They are taking the opportunity to be able to avail themselves of more entertainment or informational flow opportunities out there, but they are becoming more diverse in their distraction level out there. And if we take a look at where people are spending their time, about half of it is being spent on games. I'm an Angry Birds addict, I freely admit it. About another 30% within social networking. Where we're competing as researchers is in that little 8% slice of pie up there, the all other space. So how do we compete for the attention of folks that are growing in their numbers, more diverse in their activities, and more fragmented in the way that they're looking at things? So one thing is, quite frankly, to be able to get to the point. And this has some ties into more traditional new product concept work, but it also is extremely important if we're going to do concept testing and work within a mobile world. So some information was presented at the TRTE this past winter in Las Vegas, indicated that if an average survey runs more than 17 and a half minutes, or to more than 30 questions, you probably got about 30% abandonment rate out there. Right? So it's critical, and this is just across all platforms, this is not mobile. So it's critical to be able to be concise in your efforts and what you're delivering out there. But the challenge as researchers are, how do we actually pull back the insights that we need to be able to deliver the value to our organizations? The other key metric is that lower the perceived human presence, there's greater candor coming from folks. That as you move up the continuum and you move away from human intervention, you receive greater candor from your panelists out there. And when you get up to the game type environment, you get the greatest level of candor. With the work that we're doing, we do work with open-ended text, we do voice to text, and we actually do some video work. So you're totally eliminating the human interaction and you're opening up the greatest degree of candor out there. Okay. So the challenge really becomes, how do we take something that's perceived as work? Because a survey can be perceived as work by panelists. Some do it for the fun and the enjoyment of it. But when was the last time one of you took a 60 or 70 question survey of give me, on a 1 to 5 scale, how much you like this and actually thought it was fun? I mean, quite frankly, I occasionally will take surveys from people hoping for the open ends because I can slam them on their design work, which doesn't always happen. But the challenge for us as researchers, especially in the mobile world, is how do we take something as perceived as potentially as work and make it fun and make it engaging? Because the mobile world is a fun and engaging platform. So how do I make my survey fun? Well, it's by adding in surprising variety into it. By adding in unique tasks, different ways of being able to gain the information and research the data that we need from folks, providing clever incentives. It's not just, okay, will you please take a survey and here's your $2 e-rewards bucks. Is anybody in here from research now? I'm not picking on you guys. It's just easy to do. So coming up with clever incentives to be able to keep people engaged and get them highly involved in the execution to be able to drive their learning. Bring in social cognition so they understand exactly what they're doing, and an aspect of gamification. So if you can take all of these and pull them together, you can gain respondent involvement, you can bring them into the mobile world, and you can actually drive survey results. So the way that we do that is via prediction markets, and what I want to do for the balance of this conversation is separate the two aspects of prediction markets. There's the sampling frame of prediction markets, which we could talk about for an hour and a half, because I'm sure there's people in here that say it doesn't work. So let's separate the sampling aspect, and let's talk about the executional aspect, or the survey delivery device. What prediction markets do is they tap into our inner oracle. There's been a lot of academic work that talks about how people are able to predict the behaviors of others. And I'll be glad to fill your inboxes with boatloads of it. Some we've done, some with others. It asks the critical question, not of what will you do as the intended users, but what do you think others will do? Right? We provide skin in the game. We give people an additional incentive within a prediction market. They are told overtly and right up front that if you are successful in predicting the purchase product most likely to be purchased, you can earn up to an additional $10. That's reinforced several times in there. Research has indicated that as little as $1 or $1.50 additional incentive can really knock down drop-off rates and really help drive completion rates. A $10 potential incentive really drives that very hard. We see limited drop-off rates, we see high degrees of engagement, and we see people in the survey longer than they should be. And if I take this to the extreme, when Pat Graham was up here, she was talking about how expensive it is to get specialists within the pharma world. I've used the exact same format with physicians. You can earn up to an extra $10. The engagement was there, the completion rate was there. And for a survey to be successful, and what it is within prediction markets is it needs level 1 ease. It needs to be simple. I can just swipe, I can move, I can point, I can touch, I can use a keypad. Okay. All right, so what do our traders say? And a trader is what we call a panelist within a prediction market. All right. When we've asked and surveyed our panelists over time, the most important thing they say is that this delivery mechanism is fun. They enjoyed doing it. They thought it was very interesting. It was different. It was cool. It made them think. Okay? So it is a very different approach than the more traditional, new product concept testing work, which we do all day long. So I'm not bashing it. This is an alternative to that. All right, so what's the difference between a prediction market and a traditional survey? Prediction market works off a screened general population. People are screened for perspective. I do not, and you do not want them into that survey unless they know and they understand what it is you're asking them about. They have to have perspective, as opposed to surveys using targeted respondents. A prediction market is by design a 10 to 12 minute length of interview. So it is a fairly short execution. Some of my more involved ones where I'm testing up to 8 concepts may run 15 plus, but I still only see 4 to 5% abandonment rate north of 15 minutes, even on mobile devices. Prediction markets provide you with the key metrics for you to be able to make your decision to report to management as to what to do. It gives you very clear differentiation between concepts. My clients say that they prefer this methodology to more traditional testing because they feel that traditional testing sometimes flatlines what the concept value reads are, and they feel there's greater discrimination within this, as well as critical diagnostics such as what are the key drivers behind success, what else can be done to be able to enhance that. There are performance-based incentives that are delivered within prediction markets as opposed to the flat incentive. Yes, a panelist still gets their 2E rewards dollars, but they've got that opportunity to earn additional if they're correct in their predictions. And as a general rule of thumb, a prediction market can have a result sitting on your desk in 3 days, 72 hours in a traditional U.S. study, as opposed to multiple days, if not multiple weeks. Okay, so what do you get from a prediction market? Clear differentiation between the concepts. You can understand the relationship between them and the likelihood of success. And I'll show you a brief example of this in a few moments. And that's done via forced choice ranking, because the panelists are overtly asked to be able to determine which concept or concepts are most likely to be successful and to invest their virtual dollars back behind them. There's a full analysis of the concept attribute strengths. So what are the key attributes within that concept or that creative execution that are driving them to make the decision that this will be most successful out there? So you as researchers, as you move down the development pipeline, fully understand which attributes you need to retain as you move forward with the development of this product. There's also a concept optimization analysis. In a 2-stage approach, we ask people the question of, you pick concept A is most likely to be successful. What else could you do to be able to improve that product? So we do a little text mining behind the scenes, and we do some aggregation of open-ended comments, and we present them with a number of different ideas that others before them in the survey have commented on. And we have them do a simple thumbs up and thumbs down. It's a good idea, it's a bad idea. It just merely gives you frequency and impact of that. And then we ask them, what else could you do? Some of the things my clients have learned out of that is new niche categories or adjacent categories that they had some brand equity in they didn't even know about, that they could look for future product enhancement. When I show you the case study here, there was some change in the creative that client was able to make to more fully resonate with parents and be able to help drive success of that creative execution. Okay. So the trader experience itself is pretty quick and pretty brief. We introduce them to what prediction markets are. We tell them it's a stock market game. It's similar to playing the market. We tell them they can earn their additional $10. We do self-selection for category knowledge. We have them pick 3 categories out of 8 for which they have knowledge and they feel comfortable to comment on. We have them sign an electronic NDA, and at that point they're given the background of the study. It's whatever information the client wishes to be able to impart to them. We expose them to the concepts. We take them to an interactive screen where they do their trading. They invest their virtual dollars. They can see graphically how others before them have actually invested their money. And in real time, as they make their investments, they see what their ROI is, what their payout is. We ask them their motivations and optimizations. All right, so now I'm going to run through very quickly what some of the deliverables can potentially look like. Now, some of this, I apologize, I can't show you the creative because it's not out in the marketplace yet. And this particular test was done for a post-secondary school of nursing that had 2 focuses. One was to be able to draw young people, or draw people in to be able to start their education to initiate a career in nursing, and the other was post-licensure training. So once you had your license, be able to go out. The winning concept was advertisement K. It indexed 62 points higher than its starting offering price and a fully 50% more likely to be successful than the second place concept that was out there. We do net attraction scoring, which is essentially the difference between the attractors and the detractors, those that love it and those that think it will fail miserably. Concept K, had the highest attraction score. 34% of people who commented on it said it was clearly going to be successful, and only 7% said it would not be. As opposed to if you go to the far end of the spectrum, where those last 2 concepts, pretty much failed miserably. People said, no, they will not work. What you also see is the ones in the middle, such as, I can't say it, maybe it's concept T, which is a polarizing concept. It has a love-hate relationship going on in there. People that loved it really felt positively about it. People that didn't like it felt very negatively about it. So there's something in there either for a niche concept or a way that with maybe some minor tweaking you can actually move forward. We also do a heavy-duty analysis of the open ends. Advertisement K had a very strong emotional appeal. One of the open ends says it's going to resonate effectively because of the tagline. Picture shows a caring nurse tending to a child. That should affect students on an emotional level. Now, I'll paint a picture of what this looks like because it'll be important in a second. There's a picture of a nurse in a clinical setting, hospital, doctor's office. She's out, got her hand out, touching gently a child's face. In the background, there's a parent, and you pretty much only see him from about the waist up. Okay, what came out of this was that this particular creative really appealed to the emotional feel, the human feel, the fact that you were caring, and it was really driving the key attributes that they were looking for. Oops. Okay, we've been doing work with some analysis that Saatchi and Saatchi put out in December. We've been tweaking the emotional drivers back out of the open-ended comments. So we're taking the 8 key emotional drivers behind purchasing behavior and applying them back to the open ends. And what we found in this particular study was 89% of folks who commented positively on this particular one said that it was going to resonate effectively because of the sense of connection, caretaking, and bonding. So if you're a school of nursing and you're trying to attract people to come in here, you want them to think that they're going to be in a caretaking role, they're going to be bonding with people. Half of them said that it was a sense of aspiration, hope, dreaming, and the others compelled by a feeling of mastery. So it gave them the key driving emotional benefits that they needed to be able to drive folks to want to enroll in the school and be able to move forward. So we also asked them then what would make it more successful, and this is where some really key learning came in and forced them to change some of their positioning. 3 or 4 of the top comments in here said, maybe show the parent's smiling face in the background, show the parent's face, show a more genuine smile on the face. This resonated very positively with them. As I've already said, the parent in the background, you pretty much only saw them from the waist up. A couple of the researchers that were there had worked for McDonald's. When they did children's research at McDonald's, they found it was extremely important that any execution geared towards children, aka Happy Meals, needed parental involvement in it. They were missing parental involvement in this thing. That was the one key attribute that was missing. So we're going back to reshoot it and bring in more of a full vignette of the parent. So they saw parental involvement and parental approval. Okay. So I said there are times this works and there are times it doesn't work. Prediction markets are extremely positive and work extremely well with concept testing and screening. Everywhere from when you come out of an ideation session, you've got 35 different forms and flavors of something, to when you've got a dozen and you really need to be able to whittle them down and figure out which ones do I go chase to production and bring to the marketplace. It works extremely well with copy testing, and it doesn't matter whether it's print, or it's media. We can deliver any sort of media to folks, and also with positioning statements. I've done it within CPG. I've done it in non-for-profit. It's worked in finance and insurance. I've done it in pharma. It works across multiple verticals and industries. When you don't want to use it, if you're doing a brand awareness study, price elasticity, segmentation, structure, it will not work. It's not a viable option. But anything with new product concept testing, creative testing, and screening is an extremely viable option. It is platform agnostic, and because it is web delivered, it is delivered so it doesn't matter whether it's Android or it's iPhone or it's a tablet. It's a way to be able to engage those individuals that are more mired within their smartphone and bring them well into the fold to be able to use it. So, thank you for your attention and focus late on a Wednesday afternoon with the thunder rumbling in the background. So,
hey, but the storm seems to have gone, so he done something right there.
Hello. Oh. Hi, I've always had a question about how you use predictive markets when there's not an actual outcome that you can measure it to. So when the participants are going through and making their wagers and bets, how do you know which ones are successful and which ones you should pay the participants for getting right? Or is it just a theoretical outcome?
The outcome is predicated upon which product or concept wins in that given market in that execution. Okay, so whichever one has the highest dollar investment value at the end of the day is what they're paid on. Now, if the question goes, the next step is, do I know how successful this is going to be once I get out of this test environment? I just concluded a test for a large printer manufacturer, and we used existing products that were in the marketplace, known variables, and put them in as a control into these tests. So then they could understand what the resonance is of the new products versus the existing one that's in the marketplace.